Over the course of several years, I have acquired an extensive wishlist collection on Steam, receiving the occasional email letting me know when a few dozen games go on sale. I don't know what compelled me to check, but after receiving one the other day, I popped over to my wishlist tab only to be greeted with a massive wave of nostalgia. For those of you unaware as to what The Last Stand is, or what ArmorGames Studios is, allow me to explain. In the peak of Flash era gaming, ArmorGames was, and still is, a website turned studio which features thousands of free Flash games. Back in the day, 10-year-old me used to spend hours and hours perusing the site, dominating the bots in Age of War, or violating the Geneva Convention by spamming mustard gas in Warfare 1917. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about a true hidden gem. The Last Stand is the game that sparked my interest in zombie survival games over 15 years ago. So today, I thought it'd be fun to reignite that spark and play through The Last Stand 2, and The Last Stand Union City. So sit back and follow along with me as we survive the nights, rescue survivors, and attempt to make it to Union City. My first playthrough was a little rough. It's been well over a decade since I've played the first game, so it took some getting used to. After surviving the first night, you're given 12 hours to allocate your time to. You can repair your defenses, look for guns, or search for survivors. Somehow, while only having one survivor, which was me, I managed to lose one during the search party. Anyway, none of this matters because I died the very next night. Alright, second attempt. Oh, I'm just... Hell yeah. I'm just a dead animation on the ground. Good. Ready? Oh, okay, here we go. Main menu. After getting through the first night, I allocated all 12 hours to weapon hunting, coming up with a 357 Magnum. Now, the goal is to survive for 20 nights, after which a rescue helicopter will come pick up you and any of the survivors you manage to rescue. The first few days of the run are pretty much all the same. All you really need to do is just spam hours into weapon hunting. By the third night, I'd managed to find a UMP and my first survivor. Unlike The Last Stand 2, you can't give your survivors any weapons. They'll come with their own pistols or hunting rifles. Don't underestimate the survivors though. Only having one or two kind of blows, but once you get to like 4, 5, 6 of them, you're practically unstoppable. On the fifth night, shit hit the fan. No! No! GG's. After dying once, I selected retry, only to find out that I couldn't shoot. Okay. Try again. This is a reoccurring issue with the Legacy game. To fix it, all you need to do is go back to the main menu and then resume from whatever day you left off on. Anyway, this happened several more times until I finally managed to make it through the night. Over the next few days, I continued stockpiling weapons and adding survivors to the ranks. All in all, between days 6 and 9, I managed to find a shotgun, a chainsaw, a sawed-off shotgun, and something else, but I wrote a chainsaw in the script again, so here you go. After wrapping up night 9, I managed to find a 7th survivor, capping me for the group. Unfortunately, as soon as I tried to go on to night 10, the game crashed, undoing my looting progress from that day. This means we never found the 7th survivor, and to add insult to injury, we lost another survivor while searching, bringing us down to 5. This wasn't the end of the world by any means, we still made it through the night just fine. Well, until I learned that the sawed-off shotgun bugs when you try to reload it, making it incredibly unstable. On night 11, I tested out the hunting rifle and became a mix of Chris Kyle's and the 2008 FaZe clan. You know, remember when they were all focused on trickshotting and not selling knockoff crypto coins? Allegedly. Over the next few nights, I managed to find an Uzi, an M4, and an AK, but the hunting rifle was too good not to use. Oh, Chris Kyle's got shit on me. The M4 and the AK were both pretty good, but when you collat zombies and chamber another round before you can reload the other rifles, there's just no reason not to continue using the hunting rifle. With all of those guns, we've essentially completed the arsenal. Or so I thought. If you take a closer look at the bottom left of the screen, you'll notice the weapon find-o-meter post-it note. When that bar fills up, you find another gun, and that bar is about a third of the way full, which means there's another weapon out there. Okay, I mean, the weapon meter is still filling up, so we're gonna find out here. Gonna lose a survivor off that. Yep. How did I... Oh, yeah, the Barrett. There we go. The Barrett sniper rifle is absolutely lethal. It's able to shoot through at least 2 zombies with every round, and one-shots most zombies in the chest. A definitive step up from the hunting rifle, but you'd expect it to be this good considering it's a hidden weapon, and it's a Barrett 50 cal. I mean, come on. I use this along with the chainsaw to carry me through the remaining days. Admittedly, having the Barrett and a full survivor team made night 20 feel like nothing. The barricade only took 5 damage total, and we were able to successfully survive the night, leading to our rescue via a military helicopter. After the events of the first game, Jack and fellow survivors were evacuated by military helicopter. Unbeknownst to them, one of the survivors was infected. This leads to mass panic, and somehow Kobe Bryant ends up taking over the controls, leaving Jack as the sole survivor of the helicopter crash. Now, having to reach the evacuation point on foot, you're given 40 days to make it to Union City. This is the game I've played the most of in the series. I actually played through this and completed The Last Stand 2 several times before even realizing it was a sequel because 10-year-old me probably should have been wearing a helmet. Night 1 is tough. The game kicks off by just throwing you directly to the wolves, or zombies. After surviving the night, you get to check out the new and improved time system. The map is my favorite component of this game. You still have 12 hours, but each building has a different amount of time depending on what it is. Some buildings, like police stations, have guns in them. Others, like farmhouses and hunting lodges, have bear traps and chainsaws. Since we're already here, this is probably also a good time to talk about the new additions they've added to The Last Stand 2. Traps. You can place them at various points of the zombie path, and they'll trigger when shot or when a zombie steps on them. I'll show that off in a few minutes though. Next is survivor weapons. Survivors no longer have their own individual weapon. Instead, each survivor is given a pistol by default, but that can be swapped out with any gun you have in your armory. It should go without saying, but there's also several new weapons added to the game, and I'll show a couple of them off later on down the road. Outside of the normal map, you can also gather supplies from looting houses and stores, which are used to traverse the map and explore other towns and cities. The Last Stand 2 does have an uptick in difficulty though. You'll notice it almost immediately considering hellhounds are appearing on day 1 and zombies can sprint on day 2. If that wasn't difficult enough, some zombies can also spawn with weapons on them. Let them get too close to your barricades and they'll be able to mutilate your survivors. This means as soon as one steps into frame, they become the highest priority. After spending 5 days at the start, I'd finally stockpiled enough supplies to move on to a new city. So here's how this works. You find supplies from looting, and spend supplies to move to different cities. Each city has a different population and different types of loot. The larger cities, like Claysburg and Jonestown, hold more loot, more places to loot, stronger barricades, and more zombies. Whereas these smaller cities like Aspenwood and Whistler's Grove, well, they have less to loot and a smaller amount of zombies. When you do travel to new towns or cities, some days pass, meaning you don't have to actually survive 40 nights, you really only need to survive like 15 if you know where to loot. I arrived in Claysburg with 32 days remaining. We're holed up in a church, which is another new thing they've added to the game. Basically, each time you travel to a new city, you'll base up in a new location with a new backdrop and all that fun stuff. Over the next 2 days, I managed to find an Uzi and another survivor before leaving for Aspenwood. For reference as to how much smaller it is compared to Claysburg, here's the Aspenwood map. After finding a sawed-off shotgun, I rearmed my 2 survivors and prepared for nightfall. For all the joy this game has brought me, it's done a fantastic job of allowing nostalgia to block out all the bugs that came with it. Take this one for example. Whenever I reload the chainsaw, the audio spikes up to an almost unbearable level. This also applies to the weapon menu. Whenever you swap out a survivor weapon, the audio spikes up, so just a heads up if you're playing on the Legacy Collection. By my second night in Aspenwood, I'd managed to find the hunting rifle, which continues to be one of the top weapons in the game. It still one-shot headshots everything, and can collat zombies if they're wounded. The big issue with Aspenwood is that it only took 2 days to loot the entire city, forcing me onward to Jonestown, which has just under double the population of Claysburg. Nothing too interesting happened here though. Don't get me wrong, I still had a ton of fun, but it was more of that same old same old. I did manage to find an M4, which was a fantastic addition to the survivor weapons, and I also found some frag grenades.
Hiya! Hiya! I don't know how I feel about it. I don't like hand grenades. Okay, those suck.
The big decision with Jonestown is whether to stockpile travel supplies and push from here directly into Union City, or you can go to Fort Tran, which features an unknown population and layout. Since I still had over 2 weeks to reach Union City, I decided to make a quick pit stop in Fort Tran, if nothing more than for the memes, and boy were they spicy. On my first looting run in Fort Tran, I found an M249 machine gun and an RPG. Don't worry, because I literally tried them out as soon as I could get them into my hands.
This just isn't even fair. I'm just gonna keep doing this.
Remember a while back when I said I'd show off the traps? Well, by now, I've accumulated 20 landmines, and since I can leave whenever, I decided to spend a few days burning through my arsenal before setting off for the UC. Even with only 3 survivors, this setup is unstoppable. The RPG can hit several zombies at once, and the LMG has a 200-round magazine attached to it. It almost felt like you could just hold left click with it and never have to reload for the entire night. It's worth noting as well that it's entirely possible to just bum rush Fort Tran, grab the LMG and RPG, and then go explore the remainder of the map. It's one of the fun little caveats of The Last Stand too. You can always revisit cities or explore the entire map. There's no singular path to take as long as you make it to Union City within the 40-day limit. Speaking of Union City, amidst the chaos of a zombie apocalypse, you must survive Union City by scavenging for food, weapons, and other supplies. You must fight off the city's infected population and help fellow survivors to complete your mission. Find your partner before you become lunch. The Last Stand Union City seems to be most people's favorite in the collection, and for good reason. It's not that the first 2 games are bad by any means, it's that Union City is just that good. It's more akin to a 2D RPG with instance maps. Each map has a few houses or buildings to explore, and there's safe houses for you to rest in. Much like any other RPG, there's an overarching main quest to find your partner, and a slew of side quests that really make the game what it is. Now the game came out like 12 years ago, so there are some spoilers in here, but I'm not going to play through the entire game in this video, since this will be my first time experiencing the game. I've played maybe a total of 45 minutes in Union City back in 2011 when I found it on the ArmorGames website, and remember the very beginning, but everything past the first roadblock is a blank slate for me. Anyway, I chose the hard difficulty, which just requires you to eat and sleep. For character creation, you can make your own custom setup, but I just went with one of the defaults because I really just wanted to get into the game as quick as possible. During the intro, you Caitlyn Jenner a poor pedestrian and have to get back to the city on foot. Once you're on your feet, you can start looting the surrounding area before encountering your first zombies. The game itself is pretty easy, and for some reason it reminded me a ton of Adventure Quest, really just that old school number combat with the simple animations, and I love it. The houses look all abandoned and decrepit as well. Just everything about the game screams early 2000s browser RPG. I figure me talking about the game won't do it much justice since I don't really know much about it, but here's some gameplay of my first experiences.
Oh, hold on. Time out. Stop resisting. No. Hip Hop Ninja. Sweet. Baseball bat, a pocket knife, a Tom Brady football. Can I get in here? No, it's just the closet. Okay. Do I slowly? Yeah, okay, I just slowly get back standing.
Time to show you some
Oh, a sprinter. Oh. Ready? Here. I need to get, what did he say? I need to get, oh yeah, I need to catch my breath maybe. Oh! Okay. Good defense, sir. Has no Ray at number 12 has a pair of bolt cutters. I borrowed them last month. Are you gonna do anything? Dope. Good job. Talk to Ray and break through. Okay. I didn't see what the reward was. Nothing. 50 XP. He's got this. He may be good with a gun, but is he able to outlast the wave of epileptic seizures he's about to go undergo? Yep, see? That's what happens. Give me... I'm gonna get my pistols up and blades to the same thing. There we go. Oh. I'm assuming we can use the cash for something, right? For those of you who played this before. I just feel like there's a lot of cash, and it'd be stupid for them to like not have a reason to use it. Going to the hospital to help out where I can. You can meet me there. Wait, my stamina sucks. I like that melee weapons like don't use stamina. Oh my god, there's so many of them.
After about 45 minutes, I managed to get through the barriers, locate and clear the hospital, and to begin making my way to the football stadium turned quarantine zone. It's here that I'll pose the question. I know the game is well over a decade old and it's a Flash game. I know the graphics aren't flashy and the combat is a number generator at best. But, is this something you'd like to see more of? I haven't played through the story aside from the initial mission, and have somehow managed to dodge all major spoilers and cheese about this game for the last 12 years. What I'm trying to say is, let me know if you'd like to see a stream series or a video covering The Last Stand Union City in its entirety, and if there's any real interest in this dumpy Flash game. While I've only played a few hours of Union City, The Last Stand is a franchise that I hold very near to my heart. It was one of my first real exposures to zombie games as a whole, and it was full of childhood memories that I'll continue to cherish and look back on fondly. And to the older gamers, I hope this video brought back a massive wave of nostalgia for you all. The entire Legacy Collection is only around $10 on Steam for the 3 games, and it usually goes on sale for around $4 or $5, so I highly recommend picking it up. Until next time, thank you. I appreciate you all. Stay safe, and thanks for stopping by.